Day 16 of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. The fiercest battles have begun right on the outskirts of the country's capital, Kyiv. And India today is right there to bring you the very latest. It's Day 16. The Russian conflict operations and attempts are being made by Russian forces to encircle the Ukrainian capital from different satellite towns, including Irpin and Brovary. Ukrainian forces are fighting back. Efforts are being made to stall Russian advances on Kyiv. Ukrainian troops claim to have destroyed 5 Russian tanks in one of the Kyiv suburbs and claim to have killed 30 Russian soldiers, including a top Russian army commander. Ukrainians are battle ready with tanks, infantry fighting vehicles and troops with anti-tank guided missiles deployed in very cold -5-degree temperatures at the city's outposts. The Ukrainian capital is bracing and has been bracing for many days now for what is expected to be a major Russian assault, which could come within the next 24 to 48 hours. Joining us live now on a special joint broadcast with journalists from Moscow and Kyiv. Tatiana Kukhareva is with me live from Moscow. She represents Sputnik News. Anna Basova is a journalist from Kyiv. Olena Kvitka is also a journalist from Kyiv. Their nations are at war. They join me live on this joint broadcast. Welcome to all of you. Thank you very much for being with me at this time. Tatiana, I'd like to start with you with the fact that the two countries are currently, over the talks table. That didn't appear to go very well, with both countries pointing a finger at the other and saying there doesn't appear to be a real commitment towards peace. Each side blaming the other for not really walking the talk as far as doing what's needed to make those peace talks meaningful. I'll get to the battle for Kyiv in just a moment, but I want to talk about that for a moment. Tatiana, to you first.
Good day to you too. Well, look, when it comes to the talks, it's one thing to listen to the claims coming from both sides. But, if we look at the facts, Moscow has been initiating those talks, has tried to initiate those talks from day one. And even before the launch of the special operation, I am still going to, unfortunately, insist on the fact that we can't really quite call it a war on the Russian side. Should it have been a war, that we've been talking about the assault on Kiev, what it's called an assault on Kiev, for so many days now, and yet the situation remains the same. It's encircled. It has been surrounded for several days now, and the bulk of the Russian effort is to try and convince the Ukrainian side to open the humanitarian corridors for all this time, for all the cities that have been encircled by Russian military forces for days now. Now, when it comes to the progression of the talks, I don't think that we can avoid the blame game from the Ukrainian side. You have to understand that their politicians are primarily speaking to their own population, to their own electorate, and the people that they're trying to unite behind them. And, to say they would not possibly be able to admit the fact that they're trying to prolong those talks, would they?
Okay, let me get a word in. Let's take this one piece at a time so we can discuss all of these issues threadbare. Tatiana, Olena, coming to you first. How would you respond to what Tatiana says, that Ukraine can't dodge its share of the blame in what's happening right now? She says Ukraine cannot dodge the blame game, and that your president is basically hiding behind the people of Ukraine. Olena, to you first.
Yeah, first of all, I would like to say that in the videos that I can hear before we started our live with my colleague from Russia, Tatiana. So you call it the military operation. It's not the military operation. It's the war which the Russia started against the Ukraine. And yesterday, when our Minister of Foreign Affairs, when he came back from these bilateral talks with the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Russia, he told in front all the European and world media and Ukrainian people that it's very difficult to talk about anything with the country and to ask the country to stop the war with the country which doesn't want to stop this war. And he meant Russia. And Tatiana from Russia now, he mentioned that Ukraine from our side, like from our side, we can't arrange these humanitarian corridors, and we do everything possible from our side that it would not happen. It's not true, and the Russian propaganda works so well. We do our best to do it, but what they do when they try to evacuate people from these small towns, which like 15 and 20 kilometers from Kiev, they start shelling the civilians.
Okay.
They open the fire, and we have many cases. And if you want me, I can tell you about this and show the evidence when the whole families lied dead because they opened the fire when they were trying to evacuate.
Let me also get Anna in, because you mentioned the humanitarian corridors, Olena. Anna, would you like to respond to Tatiana on the issue of how she says this is not an invasion. There is a military operation, but Ukraine cannot dodge its share of the blame in what's happening right now?
The whole world calls it war, and only Russia still talking that it's military operation.
Excuse me, my darling. Now it's
Don't
my
you
turn
think
to
it's?
answer.
Don't you think?
A couple of words in Russian. Перестаньте врать и называйте вещи своими именами. I told them to stop lying and to call the things as they are. You cannot know from inside Moscow what's happening here. I live here. You started the war on my birthday. I turned 33 on 24th of February, and I say it from inside. You cannot call a military operation bombing schools, bombing maternities, bombing children's hospitals, bombing evacuation convoys. Come on. I saw it on my own eyes, and now I'm talking not as a journalist, but as a person from inside. I do not escape from Kiev in spite of the danger.
Okay, let's put Tatiana and Anna on our screens right now. Tatiana, an emotional response there from Anna Basova. Would you want to respond to her? She says, what are you talking about in terms of the words that are being used for, what is an invasion that is being seen by the Ukrainians? Bombings are happening of hospitals. Humanitarian corridors are being shelled, she says. How would you respond to that, Tatiana?
Of course they're saying this because, and this is a very good example at just how well the Zelensky's cabinet is working, and its media campaign, and they're really good at it. If we take the claims one at a time, first of all, you mentioned during the headlines the biolabs that exist in Ukraine. Well, U.S. Undersecretary of State Victoria Nuland actually confirmed the existence of these labs during a Senate hearing. And there are videos of it online. You can Google them. They're being quoted by the most respected journalists in the U.S., including Glenn Greenwald. I'm sure you know of him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Those videos are online. In the same day, hours after this admission, the Ukraine's president goes on national television and denies the existence of these labs. Well, while the Americans are saying, look, these labs exist, we did collaborate, and we're very afraid that the Russians are going to get their hands on them now. So my question to you is, if the Americans are admitting them, and the Ukrainian president, either he doesn't know about the existence of these labs, which I'm very surprised by. I would be very surprised that he has joint labs with the US and he doesn't know about them.
No, it's an important issue. Anna, would you respond to that? The bioweaponry labs.
One moment.
Yeah.
One moment.
I will respond.
When we talk about
let Tatiana finish her point.
Hospitals that both of the Ukrainian speakers have mentioned, the latest bombing that went viral, the
Mariupol.
pictures went viral. They are fake, and they've been proven to be fake. First of all, we know from people inside Mariupol. I have friends living inside the city who are saying that maternity.
Okay, let her respond. Tatiana, let Anna respond. 2 points that you've made on bioweapons and Mariupol. Yes, Anna, respond.
First of all, when you're talking about me being influenced by Zelensky propaganda, you demonstrate your disrespect to me as your colleague. So you want to say that I cannot have my own opinion, just repeat what my president tells me to. You are deeply mistaken, but let it be your own fault. Secondly, the video has gone viral. How dare you talk about pregnant women and those who have just given birth to children? How dare you to say that it has gone viral? Which sources inside Mariupol do you have? Just demonstrate them. Show me the proof. I can also tell that I have my own sources, my personal sources. And stop this fake news propaganda about that there was Nazi base there. I know that Russian version about that our fighters of Azov captured the building. Come on, guys.
Do you know what the Azov
Are you
Battalion?
humans or are you just repeating your propaganda?
Do
About
you know what the
bioweapon,
Azov Battalion is?
I cannot even comment because it's such a bullshit. It's a kind of, I don't know, kind of ill fantasy of Russians. Just show me the proof of Nuland confirming our biolabs of anyone in the Congress. Just show them, because all I hear now is just your words.
Okay.
I know you're repeating Kremlin propaganda. Okay. This is how Russian media work.
Let Tatiana respond to that. Both of you have accused each other of being victims of propaganda. Let's put that point aside. Tatiana, try and respond substantively to what Anna is saying, and then I'll bring Olena in.
I'm unfortunately, you know, if we take what Anna is saying, she's just literally insulting me and telling me that I am repeating the Kremlin propaganda. I don't have to repeat it. I work for a state-run media. I am the Kremlin propaganda for you, so don't worry, it's okay. I am very, very free to admit this. In the meantime, again, there are no facts in what both my Ukrainian counterparts are saying. It has been confirmed that the Azov Battalion, that are very much a Nazi organization, they've been banned by social media for a long time for that as well, you know. The fact that Facebook just changed its legislation to allow people to praise Nazi formations is, you know, it's another piece of news that's been completely shocking for us and hopefully for all of the people who can think for themselves. If you don't know what the Azov Battalion is, well, let me tell you then.
I know.
Unfortunately, I have to do you. So what is it?
I know.
What is Azov Battalion?
It's fighters battalion defending our country with no
It's
Nazi
a Nazi organization with a Nazi symbolica.
My darling,
It
I know
swastika for a
people in
symbol.
person from there. I know people in person from there.
That's very sad.
And I'm pretty sure I know
collaborate with
better.
Nazis and you don't know about it.
Yes, I'm collaborating with Nazi. I expected that comment from you. I am collaborating with Nazi. Now listen to me, my darling. My surname is Basova. My father is Russian. I was born and grew up in Lviv. That's the most western part of Ukraine.
That
I
is
studied
not
at
Russian-speaking
school.
region. This is the Ukrainian, the West Ukrainian part of Ukraine. What are you talking about?
Do not interrupt me. I spoke Russian in Lviv, and
I want my viewers to hear both of you. Yeah. Anna, you finish your point, then I'll get Tatiana. No crosstalk. Yeah.
Do you have a point to finish?
Anna, finish your point.
I just opposed to my colleague who told that I am collaborating with Nazi. I am a Russian-speaking person with Russian surname, having grown up in Lviv studying in Russian school, and I collaborate with Nazi, of course.
Okay, I don't want this to become personal because this is about two countries. You know, I know that emotions are running high right now. I know that emotions are running high. You know, why wouldn't they when two nations are at war in this way? So let's not make this personal. This is not about Tatiana versus Anna. It's about two countries which are involved in this operation. Ukraine sees Russia as invaders here. But Anna, the point that, the very specific point that Tatiana made, where she says that what has happened in Mariupol is fabricated and fake. We've got images, of the damage that happened there. She says it's all fabricated and fake. What would you say? And we'll try and get Tatiana to substantiate that as well.
Just give me the proof that it is fake. Give me the proof that it is fake.
Google it. Google it. Jesus Christ. First of all, we know, and we've known this for a couple of days, that all of the hospitals, especially the maternity wards in Mariupol, have been vacated. And the Azov battalion, which is why I asked you, if you know who they are, and you know them, you, by definition, you said it yourself, you actually know people from them, that the Azov battalion has been actually occupying those buildings.
You're lying. It's not true. You're lying. You're now lying. It's not true. Nobody occupied
that is a very good point. Can you prove that I'm lying?
Can you prove that I'm not?
Yes. I can prove that I'm not lying. I can't prove that you're not lying. I'm sorry.
All you're talking about is just like from Russian sources. Show me independent sources of occupying the maternity house by Azov fighters. Not by Russian media. I don't trust Russian media. Show me independent sources.
It's not Russian media.
No, then stop talking that bullshit.
These are people. You're being rude, incredibly rude so far, and you're insulting me.
I am, because you are fighting against my country. I will be rude.
I'm not fighting
personal
against
to me.
any country.
When you are shelling my city. It is personal to me and to every Ukrainian.
Okay. Tatiana and Anna, I wanted to bring this back. I respect the anger and emotions everyone is feeling right now, but Anna, I want to bring it back to that specific point. You said, where is the proof? And Tatiana said, Google it. Yes. Tatiana, anything more substantive you can say to support your claim that what has happened in Mariupol is fake and fabricated? Because that has been something that you've been saying. You've been saying that many of the things that the Ukrainians have been claiming have been for sympathy. But it's pretty plain to see that there is damage happening. Let's speak specifically about what's happened in Mariupol. Are you saying that no hospital was bombed, nobody's lost their lives, and this entire Mariupol issue is fabricated?
No, look, I'm saying that, again, if we come back to the same issue, the infamous Azov battalion, the Nazi organization that has, again, swastika for a symbol, and they're putting, just recently, days ago, they put up a video of a child with a Kalashnikov in front of their symbolica, saying, look, I'm going to fight, it is monstrous. You don't give weapons to children, you try to shelter children. But to give them weapons and train them to kill is something that I will never understand as a woman, first of all. Secondly, if we're talking about a specific maternity ward, and I told you about the pictures that were shot by a very known Ukrainian photographer. Look, the woman in those pictures, she's been found. She was never at that hospital. She is safe and sound. It's the same woman in different clothes on different pictures. It's just one woman. There are no doctors around, no staff. The building has been found on Google Maps, and it's not even a maternity ward. It's a children's hospital, but they called it a maternity ward in the pictures. So, when you look at these inconsistencies, how can this possibly be real, first of all? And second of all, again, we've had this information for days that all of those hospitals have been occupied by the Azov battalion.
Okay.
Because that's what they've done,
Anna, respond to that. I'll get both Anna and Olena to respond to that. Anna, to you
I
first.
Will respond.
To what Tatiana is saying, that the Azov battalion, which are basically neo-Nazi battalions, part of the Ukrainian National Guard, have occupied these hospitals, and therefore they are legitimate targets.
First of all, they are not Nazis. That's what I insist on. They are not Nazis. But I'm sure I'll never convince Russians in anything opposite, because they want to believe they are Nazis. Okay. Secondly, the maternity ward has not been occupied. Well, they say it has been occupied. We say that it hasn't been occupied. I know it. And excuse me, but being inside, being in Ukraine, I know much better what's been unfolding in my country, other than
how far is Kiev from Mariupol?
About 500 kilometers. I don't know exactly.
So how do you know it personally?
You're much further. I didn't interrupt you.
Yeah,
you
finish your point, Anna.
About that woman, my colleague, not me, but my colleague, whom I know in person, interviewed that woman who gave birth to a girl. Fortunately, a healthy girl has been born. And she interviewed that woman. Her name is Mariana. If you need it, I can later on get in contact with my colleague.
Okay.
Interviewed that woman.
Okay, let me get.
Was taken
Why
out of job.
was she the only person who was inside that maternity ward?
She wasn't the only, but she's the best known.
She was the only one photographed.
There are much more numerous
We have Mariana's photograph. There she is in that picture that's on our screen right now. Okay, yeah. Anna, wait with me for a moment. Tatiana as well. Olena, coming back to you now. Coming back to you right now. How would you respond to that same question? Tatiana says the Azov battalion has, occupied some of these places, making them legitimate targets. But this entire story about this maternity ward being bombed is fake and fabricated. I know that we are on day 16 of this, what's happening between Russia and Ukraine. I know that there has been a lot of misinformation, but here you've got the Russian side now categorically saying that one of the biggest stories of the last 48 hours is totally fake and misleading. How would you respond, Olena?
Yeah, first of all, I would like to deliver the issue, actually questions. Here and now on the live, we have two persons from Ukraine and one person from Moscow, from Russia.
Yep.
So my question is how the person staying in Moscow can know what's happening here in Ukraine? This is my first question. Turning back to the case which happened in Mariupol when the maternity hospital was bombed and one side says that it's fake from its side, another side says that it's fake. So I would like to ask again, and what about with other cases? Okay, if we are not taking Mariupol, because we have here the proof in Ukraine that it was bombarded and like 3 people are dead and 17 injured. But Russia denies this, despite the rest of the world. But what about other cases? What about these humanitarian corridors which have been fired? What about families which are dead now? What about the airports explosions in the cities all over the world? What about the whole residential areas in the city of Chernihiv and Kharkiv? In Kharkiv, more than 500 houses are not damaged. They don't exist anymore. The city is fired. What about these cases?
Okay.
So are they also fabricated? What can you say?
Tatiana, Olena says, how much of this is all fabricated? The images coming in from Ukraine are images that...
Yeah, if you say...
all of them can't be fabricated and a lie. Tatiana, respond to that.
Well, first of all, to respond to your first question, how can I know what's happening inside Ukraine? Again, if I understand correctly, you're both in Kyiv. So how can you know what's happening inside the other cities when you're surrounded and you're inside, you have no access technically to those cities? The same way I can know, I'm a news journalist, and I have, first of all, journalists on the ground. And yes, I do have people inside Ukraine. I have friends inside Ukraine. I actually grew up in Crimea, so I know quite a few people in the eastern part of the country. To the second point.
If the whole world saying that this is a war and showing what is really happening in Ukraine, and only Russia says that it's not true, it's all made... so we are bobbing ourselves. How can you explain this?
Let Tatiana finish her point. Olena, I'll come back to you. Let Tatiana finish her point. Yeah.
It's astonishing just how naive you guys are about the whole world. It's not the whole world. It's the US and the EU. The whole world. We're on Indian television right now, and it's quite a big part of the world, if you know geography at least. Second of all, the first pictures... I'm very happy. The first pictures that we got from residential areas from the center of Kharkiv, that the Ukrainian military, or be that paramilitary formations, they were putting Grad missile launchers inside residential areas. There are pictures all over the internet, just the same with proof, factual proof. We also have, residents of Kharkiv who managed to be evacuated, which they were not allowed to. You remember that There are Indian students they used to that were not allowed at the point to exit the city because the Ukrainian side was refusing to evacuate people to Russia.
This has been an allegation that's been made for the last few days. I wanted to pick up on one comment that you made, Tatiana, which takes us to the next.
You didn't answer the question.
Okay.
She didn't answer my question. How all other cases could be fabricated when the whole world is showing it, the evidence? How?
How can Russia paint everything that's happening as fabricated, Tatiana? Are you suggesting that everything's being done by the Ukrainians? That's what she's asking, Tatiana.
Yeah, I'm
quick
not
response, and I'll go to my next point.
I'm saying that first of all, the amount of images that are coming out of Ukraine are really limited. They're showing the same buildings over and over again. I'm not sure if you're paying attention to it. I unfortunately have to pay attention to this. They're also, this is the first armed conflict in the history of times where the Ukrainian side claims hundreds of dead people and they're not showing pictures of those dead people. You know it. You work in television. Have you seen the images of like massive amounts of dead civilians that they're claiming exists?
No, this is an important.
May I have a word?
Yeah, this happened. This is actually an important point, and I want to get both Anna and Olena to respond to that. Anna, to you first. Russia has consistently said, it's not just Tatiana, the voices coming in from Russia have consistently said that way too many things that are coming out of Ukraine are in the nature of claims, whether it is Ukrainian claims of aircraft shot down in large numbers, while some may have been, but the large number of the dead as well, where there's no proof of it or pictures. Would you respond to that? I'm not commenting on it myself because I'm not there on the ground. But how do you respond to the Russians saying there's no proof for many of the big claims that Ukraine is making in terms of destruction and death? Anna, to you first.
Definitely. First of all, talking about Kharkiv, of course, my Russian colleague will oppose me, although I wouldn't like to call any one of Russian journalists my colleagues. But in Kharkiv, my two elder sisters live. So please, don't tell me what's going on in Kharkiv. That's one point. Another one. When you're talking about Mariupol being faked, you say that we should Google the pictures. Now, when we show the pictures, you say that we are not telling the truth. And if you're a journalist yourself, you know it for sure that showing corpses, showing dead bodies is something banned by journalist ethics. And moreover, we have dozens of pictures, dozens of video proofs.
There are video of bodies being dumped in Mariupol as well. We've got pictures on our screen right now of bodies being dumped in what appears to be a mass grave in Mariupol.
Unfortunately, I don't see what you are showing here, right now. I just see myself in Zoom broadcasting. But each and every picture shown in Russian network is being deleted. They block. I'm talking primarily about Russian networks like Contact and so on, etc. It's an like of Facebook. By the way, Facebook is totally banned in Russia. They don't have access to Facebook. And my relatives from Russia wrote me that we have no connection. They delete each and every video, each and every proof. They block the users, they block the accounts. That is how it is unfolding. Personally, I tried to upload numerous pictures for the Russian users to show what their delivery operation really is. But everything was deleted.
So you're saying that Russia is also censoring what the people of Russia are able to see. Olena, would you like to respond to what Tatiana said? About fabricated news and claims, lacking any substantive proof from Ukraine? Respond to that.
Yeah, regarding to the lack of proof, I think this is only in Russian media and on Russian TV what they are showing. This is the lack of proof because all the actual videos and what's happening here, I think this is banned. If you want to get more information as a journalist, you know what to do. You can search it in international sources. Again. And another thing, I'm just wondering that people who are in Russia right now, like you and your colleagues, and like citizens of Russia, all these sanctions which are imposed from many companies, from many countries, from which ban many transactions, you know, and access to the services, and cancellation of flights. Haven't you ever thought, what is the reason for that? Why the whole world is acting like this, you know? If all these cases are fabricated, is Ukraine is just bombing themselves?
Okay. Quick
Didn't
response.
you think about this? What's the reason
Quick
why
response
the
from
whole
Tatiana.
world
Okay.
is imposing actions now?
Sure.
So,
Tatiana, respond to that. She says, if all of this was fake, why is why all these counter actions against Russia in that case? Surely these countries have ways of knowing what's going on as well.
who to blame? Yeah, who to blame? Ukraine? This is all made again by Ukrainians and Ukraine?
Tatiana, quick response, and then I'll get a final round.
Shiv, I love the fact that both my Ukrainian colleagues have not really answered my question, but asked their questions instead.
What was your question?
Look, let's address the claim that has been made about photos that are circulating the media. You know, again, as a journalist, as well as I do, that when I talk about pictures, I mean videos, and I mean videos that are shot by credible sources that can be authenticated, that we know who and when and where shot them. You know, that's one thing. The videos, the pictures, the photos that you can put on the internet, I mean, I'm sorry, any person with basic knowledge of Photoshop can do those pictures in 5 minutes. And the problem, the biggest problem, and that the biggest problem with the media coverage of the whole thing, and I'm sure that that Indian journalists have also encountered that same problem, is that the majority of the pictures that are put online, first of all, again, they're of the same buildings over and over again for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And second of all, you can't authenticate them. And if you can't authenticate them, it's somebody shared that on social media. Can you really show it?
But
No,
the question that's being asked is all of it fabricated? You know, there is a point to be there's a point to be made about the possibility that not everything that can be authenticated. But India Today's reporters have seen damage in many of the cities that we've reported in, especially in Kharkiv, especially in Mariupol, Irpin, Brovary right now. You know, the bombings have been seen. Our reporters have been there during shelling as well, Tatiana.
I'm not saying that there is no shelling. Not by any means necessary. I'm never going to say that there is no shelling, because again, as you rightly mentioned, we are, past 2 weeks in this this operation. In the meantime, again, we have pictures shot by professional journalists that have been authenticated, that show those Grad missiles inside the cities.
Okay,
so
in Kharkiv you're talking about.
Those are literally terrorist tactics. We've seen ISIS.
Okay.
How can there not be any destruction?
What Tatiana mentions is basically what Tatiana mentions is basically the claim made by the Russian side that Ukrainian military units have been embedding themselves in residential areas which have been evacuated, and they've become legitimate military targets. This includes the council building, which was one of the most shared images of a cruise missile attack a few days ago, and everyone remembers that image. I want to come now to the final round of this discussion, which is something that Tatiana just mentioned when she was addressing both our guests from Kiev, when she said, "You're surrounded in Kiev right now, so how could you possibly know what's happening in any other city?" Anna, is that the situation right now, that the Russian army and the Russian military have surrounded Kiev? Because we've been talking for many days now about a possible, final offensive. Are you surrounded, as Tatiana says?
Absolutely not. Moreover, I'll tell you, when the war started on my birthday, I was abroad. I was in Sweden. And I managed to return home with no block posts, with no battles, with no rushing through encirclement. Kyiv is not encircled. That's what I know for sure. Numerous people come in, come out, And yes, it's not as free as it used to be. I mean, there are dangerous places where civilians are not led to in order not to be shelled and not to be shot. But in general, people keep on going out of the city or going to the city like I did. If is not encircled, the satellites of Kyiv, yes, numerous are being built, numerous are being destroyed or have been destroyed so far, but each and every point in Kyiv region is under control of Ukrainian armed forces.
Okay.
And Russian troops are not succeeding. I heard numerous messages of their defense minister Shoigu, of their foreign minister Lavrov. No.
Tatiana,
you
quick,
are not succeeding.
Tatiana, quick last word from you. You wanted to qualify what you said. Anna says, we're definitely not surrounded. We can leave if we want to. You're saying they're surrounded.
I'm saying that the city has been encircled for days. There is a possibility.
May I have a word? I can add.
How can you know? How can you know I am in Kyiv? I can freely go out and in. That's what I did. Or should I go next time with my camera on to show you that?
Are you saying that Kyiv is so small that you would actually see all of the Russian military around it if you walked out? Because I've been to Kyiv. It's rather, a city more than a village. It's a big place. You can't possibly see that far.
And I've been living here for 16 years.
This is getting more ridiculous by the minute.
Okay.
The city and the outskirts of the city have been surrounded for days now. The fact that you can walk around in the city does not prove that the city and its outskirts have been in a circle of Russian forces.
I'm going to...
I have just mentioned that I can go out of the city and into the city, not just around. Listen attentively to what I am telling.
Okay.
And me, living here for 16 years, I know the city much better than you.
Okay,
in spite of you having been here.
May I have a word, please?
Yeah, Olena, 20 seconds. I have to close the show. Olena, your final word to you. I'll give you the final word. Olena, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I would like to add that the Kyiv is not surrounded. It's not true. I am not in Kyiv, and I can easily, not easily, but I can move around the country. What I can say, I'm Russian speaking in Ukraine, and we don't need to be safe. Just get out of our land, because we will stand till the end.
Okay. Thank you.
What are you doing here in our land?
Anna,
take care of Russia. This is my message.
Okay.
My final message, and then I'll also leave.
Yes, quickly.
I have a word for my final message.
Quickly. Thank you.
Are you giving me the final message?
Yes. Go ahead, quickly.
If you have a quick glance at history of Russia after USSR collapsed, Russia is so unhappy to have neighbors who attack themselves. In Georgia, they attacked themselves. In Transnistria, they attacked themselves. Ukrainians attack themselves. Each and every neighbor who is unwilling to obey to Russia, to obey Kremlin, attacks himself.
We will.
Bingo.
Okay.
They're not making any sense. Thank you very much, Shiv. Thank you for the debate.
Tatiana, thank you. Olena, thank you. Anna, thank you. I understand the emotions and the anger involved in this story. I would feel the same if I were in either country at this point of time. So I thank you for giving me your time. I appreciate it. In these difficult circumstances, to be able to communicate is still something, isn't it? Thank you very much to all three of you for being with me here on this discussion. Okay, let's show you the pictures. We'll try and get you more reactions from the ground in Ukraine in just a moment about how they are reacting and how Moscow is reacting to this enormous claim. But here are some of the images that are coming in on day 16.